Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, sizes, and shapes. This is the Four Guys Roundtable Show. We're back for another great episode. And you know what? Darth Pat, do you want somebody to kiss you? Do you need a kiss? If the people who are not seeing us on YouTube, Darth Pat has a kiss shirt on with the tongue sticking out. So I think he wants a couple.
Rolling Stone shirt.
I know it's a Rolling Stone shirt. Mm-hmm. I know it's stop. I know it's a Rolling Stone shirt, but it has lips on it with a tongue hanging out. I'm being more detailed with it, okay? So people get a grasp, you know. I'm trying to go to the adult version here. So there's lips on his shirt with a tongue sticking out. So I think he needs a little licking and kissing right now. See, let me finish my spiel first. God damn it. Okay. Now, as always, Darth Pat, aging natural coach, Jeremy with me. And we're just hanging out, chilling. So how's everyone doing this evening?
Pat said he doesn't want any kisses.
Well,
he doesn't want to steal his kisses from you.
Well, I mean, I can call Joey the stylist up and we can make this arrangement.
Darth Pat just needs it to be like, May 18th. So
what's May 18th? Is this the day?
That's the day after tax season, and since they extended tax day till
they did.
I was a little upset. My dad, we started doing, and I told you guys about this last year. We do this charity golf tournament where it's a shotgun start and it's a 4-man scramble. It's on May 1st, the day after I get my special operation.
Oh God, you're not gonna be able to do shit that day, bro.
I was so mad.
They turn you into a woman. That one, okay.
Yes, that one. I'm gonna be turned into a woman.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was a little upset.
As long as you admit it and come to terms,
Yeah, I've come to terms with it. That's okay. But yeah, I was like, I'm all excited. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be cool. I was like, because we were gonna split it up, and my dad was gonna probably play with my brother and our one good friend from high school, and I was going to play with my other friend from high school, and then my brother-in-law. And then as I was like looking at it a second time, I'm like, son of a bitch. I was like, I can't even fucking play. I told my wife, I was like, I could get in the cart and ride around, and then when I got out, I could just swing it with one arm. I'll just swing my arm and trying to hit the ball.
I just be the driver.
Well, and
alcohol
that's the problem.
And driving. That's all.
If I could bounce, it's going to hurt just to bounce around like in a cart.
Yeah, I see it's going to.
Like I'm not like, I don't even think they want me to drive. I'm not allowed to drive home that day.
No,
I'm not supposed to drive. I gotta, my wife has got to take us home. They're like, they're like, you'll be okay. But once the anesthesia wears off, that's when the pain will kick in. I'm like, fantastic. That sounds awesome.
Yes. Please tell me how this goes, because I plan on doing that sometime in the late summer. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you know how it goes. It's due. I put it off for quite a bit because, to be honest with you, even though operations don't scare me, I was just scared to have this done. I'll admit I was scared to have this done because I don't feel like I'm losing my manhood by any means. It's just like, it's that area. Like I'm like hesitant about that area being messed with.
Listen, I had triple hernia. One was in my stomach and the other two were down there. And like the whole time I'm sitting there and they're like marking where the areas where the doctor has to work on, or the surgeon. And I'm just like, please do not fuck up. Please do not fuck up. And me wake up and something's totally different. I will lose my mind.
So they were telestrating it for you? They were like, well, if you stay down here, we're going to circle this area right over here, and we're going to come in here for the top, and we're going to snip that right over there, and then we're going to come in from this side, we're going to boom, and that's where it's going to be.
Okay, John, that was good.
That's awesome.
That was good, Pat.
Just remember, we got to move the ball down the field if we want to score.
You got to move the ball 10 yards to get a first down.
Well, it's funny because everything will still move down the field. It just, I'm throwing an air ball. That's all.
normal for you anyway. So like, I mean,
well, I'm sorry, I don't just chuck up threes and watch them fall in. It's raining threes out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this weekend's been interesting. My wife left Friday with her friends, a couple of her friends, for her one friend's bachelorette weekend. They're doing a whole weekend. They're up at the Finger Lakes. They were in a house right on the lake there. And today was the wine tours that they did, and they had a lot of fun. Last night was the get piss ass drunk night. So and
designate one night for that.
Yeah, and so they they all survived. Nobody got mad at anybody, and so that's a good thing. So they're having a lot of good fun. So I have the kids this weekend all to myself because my oldest daughter, she ran away too. She's like,
I'll let you high and dry, bro.
Yeah, that's what my dad said too. He's like, all the ladies left your house. I'm like, but it's good. We had a lot of fun. I took, today we went out for breakfast, and then we went to got my daughter, my 9-year-old, well, my 10-year-old, she just had her birthday. Got her a new bike helmet because her old helmet was too small. And then we went grocery shopping, and then we came home, and then we went for a bike ride. So we've been out of the house pretty much all day today, which is awesome because being in the house with two kids, anybody that's got kids knows being in the house with two kids, like they're bound to like get on each other's nerves, and then they get on your nerves, and it just turns into a bad day.
Yes, you can.
This
one kid, it can be like that.
Probably like, I'm gonna say this like 4-year-old girl. She like face planted at my work today off the bench, and I just sat there and laughed at her. So because the parent was like not doing her job. So I'm like, that's what happens when the parent's not doing your job. Your kid face plants. And
what was the kid doing that she fell off he or she fell off the bench?
She was jumping on our bench, like the Tryon bench. She was jumping around on it. She fell off of it, face planted.
No offense. I would have laughed because I laugh at my own kids when they do stupid shit like that. And then once I know that if they're actually hurt, then I don't laugh and I pick them up and make sure they're okay.
Well, it wasn't my kid, so I could laugh all I wanted. So I just walked away and chuckled and listened to the kid cry. And I'm like, get that fucking kid out of here.
Jesus.
We are a humanitarian show.
Right? Fuck them kids. Promote MJF. I avoid the kids in my store. I stay away from them. They come up and talk to me, or like when I'm ringing them up, the girl today is like, look, I got masks, and I just ignore them. I don't even acknowledge that they exist. So
can't wait. I want you to have a kid so bad in the worst way. I want you to see how life is going to change when you have a kid. This is going to be spectacular.
I'm not going to say I love other people's kids because I definitely don't love other people's kids.
I like your kid, but not.
So I understand where you're coming from, though.
But I do, like the kids that I get to know, like the kids that I've coached, my daughter's friends, things like that. Those kids are always okay. It's the ones that you see that are like crazy in the stores or in the supermarket or wherever the hell you are, and they're just like freaking ape shit off the wall, and you're like, oh my God, shut this kid up.
They're not paying attention to what their kids are doing. Those are the ones that deserve their kids to face plant. Be a better parent, and your kid won't face plant. So
it's just those are the kids that I can't stand because it's not really the kid's fault. It's the like you're saying, AJ. It's the parents that need to do a little bit better job of paying attention, because my kids get out of line sometimes at the store. I'm not gonna lie, but
I think everybody's kids probably do at some point.
I'm right there to reel them back in. Like, you better stop right now. Like, we ain't messing around. It's the store. Like, get your shit in line. I don't use that word, but in my head I'm thinking that.
I mean, I like when, like, I remember probably last weekend this family was in and grandma was there too, and the kid spilled his pop on her bench, and she's like, give him the paper towels, he's gonna clean it up. And like when they were leaving the store, she's like, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I'm like, can I watch? I like when they yell at their kids and tell them I'm gonna spank you or whatever. Yeah, right, do it. I won't. I pretend I didn't see it. I swear I didn't see it.
I saw nothing. I saw nothing at all.
So
then the mother ended up. Then the mother, we put the pop up on the counter, and then the mother threw her shoes up there and knocked the rest of it over and spilled the rest of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, you've been back in the Midwest for too long.
Yeah, whatever.
Calling
it pop. You saying pop? Nothing wrong with that. I still say pop once in a while. Not as much as I used to. All right,
could be worse. They could be calling it soda.
We call it soda.
Soda, yeah.
Could be worse. They could be calling it soda. Give me some soda. Like there's no R at the end of that word, sir. It's so duh. I'm going to emphasize the duh because you're saying it wrong.
And Jay texted me and said Oral Roberts blew it against Arkansas.
They ended up losing by 2, so
they should have won. Jay texted me and said they should have won. He said that they kind of fell apart.
I didn't see any of the second half. I mean, they did have a lead, so it would seem that you could make that argument. Yeah.
Well, every Cinderella story has to have an ending, and that was theirs.
Coulda, woulda.
Everybody, like my friend Mickey texted me, everybody loves a little bit of oral.
That's right.
Wow. I like a lot of oral. Stop, please.
Yeah, don't stop. We just got started. Come on. But yeah, I must say, when I heard the name of that school and they say, yeah, Oral Roberts, I'm like, yep, that's a lot of jokes coming.
Well, it's not like this school hasn't been around for a long time, though. So.
Yeah, well, I know, but you just, when's the last time they were in the freaking tournament? You know, there was a lot of interesting teams that had a chance to play in the tournament or did play in the tournament they just never heard of before. And I think Oral Roberts, I'm pretty sure, who the hell did they play that got them in? Because they had to play to get in, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they had to win their conference tournament to get in. So.
Yep.
Oregon State had to win their conference tournament to get in, and now they've won 3 games. So.
Shit happens.
Yeah. Who knows?
Are we still planning on doing a live podcast both nights of WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta appease our friends and viewers. Yeah, appease them.
That's like 6 or 7 hours of you guys. Jesus.
I know. I don't know how long I can listen to you. Look at your face.
That's 6 or 7 hours of you guys listening to me bitch about WrestleMania. Have fun with that.
That's what the good old mute button's for.
Yeah, we just mute. We're gonna mute you if you start bitching too much.
Why do you think I just fake hung myself?
It's just a lot of WrestleMania. It'll be interesting how they do it. Like, are they gonna mix the brands together on each night?
Yeah, they've already pretty much announced what matches are what night.
They've already said what's on what night. Night 1 is the SmackDown.
The more appealing night to me, at least.
Night 1 is the SmackDown Women's Title match, which is Sasha Bianca. The WWE Title match, Lashley Drew. The Bad Bunny match. The Raw Tag Team Title match is the New Day against AJ Styles and Omos.
Taco Fall.
The Braun Shane match and the Cesaro Rollins match. Night 2 will be the Roman Edge Bryan triple threat match, the Asuka Ripley Raw Women's Title match, the Fiend Orton fuck all knows what that match is going to be match, the Big E Apollo Intercontinental Title match, and Kevin Owens Sami Zayn.
Yes,
I'm sure there will still be 1 or 2 or 3 more matches like that.
A SmackDown tag team title match and a women's tag team title match.
I did happen to watch that shit show that they called a match between Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton, just so that they can come back looking like Freddy Krueger shit.
I know.
I'll be the first to admit, I like the whole Fiend stuff and the Alexa stuff at first.
At first.
This is something different. I'm not sure where how this is going to really play out.
This is the terminology they always use for TV shows, like when they go too far, they always bring up the whole did the show jump the shark, or referencing that Happy Days moment and everything. This is way beyond jumping the fucking shark at this point. This is just stupid. It's stupid and it's stupid and it's stupid, and when it's done being stupid, guess what? It's stupid.
Are they going to do a Firefly Funhouse? Like, I almost feel like they might.
I feel like they pretty much have to, but you know what? I liked last year's Firefly Funhouse match because, for one, it was different for the time because, we were just still getting into the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we weren't like.
And it was a promo more than it was a match. It was like a glorified promo.
Yeah, it wasn't really a match. It was more like, like a cinematic critique of John Cena's entire wrestling career. Now, of course, you can argue, oh, well, it wasn't wrestling. And yeah, it wasn't wrestling, but, really nothing was going to be. And it was painful, if you recall, still last year, because it was still a totally empty arena. Not even the Thunderdome with the fake crowd noise and shit. So they had to do something, and I think it worked for them. But whatever it is they're planning to do now, I'm sure they're going to fuck up. So
yeah, I'm worried about it. Not looking forward to that. I'm really, for me, I'm just over Bray Wyatt and his character, the Fiend, and everything, because it's not appealing anymore. Like, it's lost its appeal.
And he kicks out at everybody's finisher like 10 times. So
I'm just over it. They can get rid of him. What's that?
He said kicking out of finishers 8 or 10 times. I said, so you mean a typical AEW TV match?
Most matches it's 1 or 2. He has this like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like anytime I turn on AEW, I see the finishers kicked out of multiple times a match.
Yeah, I don't know. The finisher, but
false.
I'll be honest. The false finish on the finisher move has gotten way too bad.
It annoys me sometimes too.
Like, it's different on a pay-per-view, especially if it's WrestleMania, the big show. But they're doing it on regular TV matches where they're kicking out of finishers. That shouldn't happen. And maybe I'm a little old school with saying that, but it ruins the whole purpose of the finisher. Like, the finisher is supposed to finish you off, not so that you can kick out during a regular TV match to make it so much more suspenseful. Leave that for the pay-per-views that are coming up, where it's supposed to mean more than just a regular TV match. So
for me on TV, more than twice is way too much. Twice, okay. But if you start doing 3-4 times on TV, 5 times, that's where you're pushing the limit. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's just absurd.
False finishes I'm okay with as long as they're limited, but there should be no finisher kickouts. That's just my personal opinion. But, teach their own. They think it needs to be done all the time, then let them do it all the time. Doesn't make their product any better. And once again, I'm going to say I'm over the fucking Fiend. They can get rid of that guy. They can can his ass because he's not bringing anything to the show anymore. His character is fucking stale.
And we're gonna find out on night 1 if Bad Bunny can really wrestle now.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna get fucking drop kicked or something like that. I'm gonna snap his neck or something like that.
Miz is gonna put him over. Plain simple.
Well, yeah, that's obvious. It's a matter of can he even fake it in the ring or not.
I'm hoping that whatever the minor injuries are those other two have, they figure it out, make this a tag team match like it was supposed to be.
And what is Bad Bunny? Is he a DJ or is he always a rapper? So he's pretending to be a rapper because that's what most rappers are anymore. They pretend to be rappers.
He's a Bad Bunny. Duh.
Yeah, that's
he's the really, one
that scares me for rappers. A Bad Bunny.
Do you see the commercials with Snoop Dogg where he takes the phone call and the other guy's on the other end?
Yeah,
that's Bad Bunny.
Yeah, and I know who he is. I've seen him, and I think I've heard one of his terrible songs. But
it sucks now because like he has to live up to the Pat McAfee hype of a celebrity.
Good luck to any celebrity going forward. You have to be Pat McAfee, and if you're not, you're going to get ridiculed. So
yeah, listen, it's I don't know which night want to watch more. It's a toss up. There's matches on the first night I want to see, matches on the second night,
there's
just
more matches I'm interested in the first night. Kevin Owens and Sammy's the only one on the second night I care about.
Yeah,
because God knows we knew that other match was going to turn into a triple threat.
Yes, we did. And
writing was on the wall.
Daniel Bryan is probably going to eat the pin, which is fine.
To who though? That's my question. That's what I'm curious about.
I think Edge is going to win. I think that for them to complete the arc, he has to win.
I think Roman's winning. I don't think Roman's losing that title anytime soon.
I hope Roman wins, but Edge is definitely playing the tweener for sure now. Like Roman's the heel and
no,
Daniel Bryan's the face.
I think he's definitely leaning more heel.
Well, somebody's got to be more of a heel out of the two of them, though.
Oh, of course that's Reigns, but it's yeah. I just think Edge is starting to lean towards that more of the heel line because you have Daniel Bryan as the face, so I don't have to worry about that part. But yeah, Edge is definitely
snapped again last night and hit everybody with chairs, including members from the back.
Yeah, he's going the heel role right now.
So AJ, what you drinking?
Water.
Oh, you look like you were drinking something out of a bottle.
He's drinking some high quality H2O.
It's just a cup with water in it. That's my Soundwave cup, Joe.
Ah, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's just water.
Some high quality.
Well, now it's ice.
I don't really drink a lot of alcohol even anymore. Very rarely do I even do that.
As you command, Megatron.
And I'm sure you saw your boy Jim Cornette gave the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match a half a star.
Yeah, I listened to his recap of it. I
listened to 2 minutes of it, shut it off. So
I don't think I was paying full attention to it because I'm like, okay, he's bitching about it. All right. And I didn't watch the match, so I have no frame of reference. So it's like whatever he's going to say is whatever he's going to say.
It was a pretty entertaining match. It was one of the better. It was the best women's match in AEW history, hands down.
Yeah.
Not that there's a lot to compare that to. But it was pretty entertaining.
But Cornette's a purist when it comes to wrestling. He probably thinks women should still be in the back, not doing anything.
Well, he tried to
He's
not.
Like,
I'm not sexist. He's like, I like this match or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, are you sure?
He's not the biggest fan of women wrestling, but what he hates about women's wrestling is people like Riho, people like Alexa Bliss, people like that who are, who look to be about like 5 foot and 100 pounds. He likes Rhea Ripley. He likes Charlotte Flair. I think he likes Becky Lynch to an extent. He likes Ronda Rousey. He likes women who look like they can actually do shit.
So he likes women that could possibly fight a man.
No, because he doesn't like intergender wrestling at all. So
no, I'm not saying that could, but look like they could.
Yeah.
No, because he doesn't like Nia Jax. He doesn't. I don't think he particularly likes Shayna Baszler. So
really,
I can't recall him ever saying anything good about Shayna Baszler, but I could be wrong there.
Yeah.
I think Britt Baker's a badass after that match. I feel like she justified that she's legit after that match. So
she's legit.
No,
I think he said that he wants to like Britt Baker, but he just doesn't. He doesn't like the way that. Well, he just doesn't like the way they do stuff in AEW.
I mean,
especially with women.
There are issues with the way they book their women's division. Their women's division is still not great, and there were definitely people the next day after this match like, hey, their women's division is the best. I'm like, okay, guys, one good match does not make a division great.
Yeah, especially when one of those women is actually signed by AEW and the other one's from NWA.
So I'm like, let's not get too carried away here. It was a fantastic match, but let's not just pretend everybody on their roster is good all of a sudden just because of one match.
Now you said Britt Baker, you said you think she's legit, right?
Yeah.
But the question is she too
legit to quit?
I knew you were going there.
I don't know. Ask Adam Cole. He would know the answer to that.
Yes, he would. They didn't do more crossovers, though. They didn't get that. Whoa. Darth Path throwing up some
gang signs. What the hell is wrong with you? No gang
What?
signs in this show, sir.
What? You're talking about Adam Cole and Britt Baker.
Remember, every time you say Adam Cole, you got to say, baby.
See, the thing is, though, Jeremy, I mean,
yes.
Like when we start talking about sexual stuff and whatnot, Patch is leans back and oh, here we go. But this time he was actually like, yeah, baby, let's he made a gesture. I'm proud of him.
And to all our female watchers, we do apologize for Darth Pat's inappropriate hand gestures.
Right.
Hey, you don't apologize for me. I apologize for you. I apologize for you, but you do not apologize.
This is the first time we've ever had to apologize for Pat making some kind of female reference. Usually it's Jeremy and Joe taking care of that.
Look, I'll walk right off this set right now. I've got other things to do.
Like what?
Well, I got this big basket of laundry behind me, so I guess I technically couldn't leave. Shit.
So,
I mean,
before we jump to the, did you see the this list of the top 50 women in WWE history? Have we seen that list?
Yeah, that was ridiculously stupid. I'd rather talk about something else WWE related. But you guys can comment on that list if you want to.
No, I don't even want to know who's on the top. I don't want to know because it's probably a bunch of garbage.
No, I mean it's not all garbage, but it's
like a bunch of garbage.
Trish was 1, Charlotte was 2, and then the problems start. So like Becky Lynch was 3, like Sasha was like 6. The worst was Bayley was like 10.
No, the
worst
was Stephanie McMahon being like 20th.
Oh, I didn't pay attention past 10. I didn't pay attention after 10.
Right. So if in the top 10 you can't even get through it being like, what the hell are they thinking? Then it's not a very good list.
I like Ronda Rousey, and she was in the top 10. I'm like, okay, wait a minute here. What's going on here?
No, for a caveat for those of you guys who didn't see it, this list was restricted to a start date of 1993.
Oh, so, fantastic.
So any of the old time female wrestlers like Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young, and like the old time women wrestlers who were in like Legacy Hall of Fame, were not going to be on this list. Which I get, but at the same time, it's like,
if they want to argue about Trish and Charlotte 1 or 2, that's fine. You can argue about that. I would put.
I wouldn't much complain about those two.
But Becky being number 3 was when their wheels started coming off, because even my friends who like Becky, like Zach, said Sasha should have been ranked higher than Becky. So Becky hasn't even won all the titles. She didn't win the NXT women's title. She didn't win the women's tag titles. All the other ones have won all of those belts. So to me, that right there, especially the NXT women's title, that to me is relevant here.
Right. And I'm not going to say that belts aren't relevant, but we've got to remember that it's a fixed outcome. So it's relevant in the fact of getting to hold it, and then what do you do with it? But you may never get it just because they have a different way, a different plan for you than going after that title. They have a different direction. So it's
I mean, the only way
relevant in one way, but not really.
They probably have Becky higher because of her whole man gimmick. Yeah, because that caught a fucking fire, and that kind of changed her whole.
I feel like Becky's been more over than Sasha
with the crowd overall.
That's fine.
I don't know.
That doesn't mean her matches have been better. There's no way Becky's matches have been better than Sasha. So, like, once again, over only matters so much to me. So I just can't.
Right, but the people who are making this list,
right, are idiots. That's the exception.
Well, one of our shows, we're gonna have to do like our own top 10. We'll have to do a top 10 next time we do a wrestling topic. We'll have to do a top 10, and we'll debate.
Women?
Yeah, women, men, whatever. Just to.
Oh fuck! This would be like 4 hours long. We'll be arguing.
Do you guys want to argue on there? Is that why you're doing this, Jeremy? Because Joe will vouch for it. Anytime you put me in that situation, arguments are bound to happen.
Well, it could make for a very interesting episode. We'd have to put some parameter.
I'm sure I entertained Joe, Zach, and Jay for sure a couple nights ago. They were all entertained, I'm sure. Were you entertained, Joe?
What are we in the movie Gladiator? Are you entertained?
What, Joe?
I expect it from you. So it's hard to say entertain when I expect it.
I mean, that's fine, Jeremy. I'm okay with it. I'm just like, you're opening Pandora's box then.
Well, we'd have to put some parameters around it. We'd have to discuss off a video and everything, and that what the parameters are.
Good luck with that.
But yeah, I think it would make for a very interesting episode, and we want to know what you guys think. Would you like to hear us discuss who should be like the top 10 all-time wrestlers, male, female, whatever it may be? Leave a comment in the video comments here on YouTube.
I guess we now know what our next podcast is going to be about, something of that nature.
It could be, that's for sure. All right, Theo, I think it's about time we get this podcast started. What in the hell? Every time, every fucking time.
I had already mentioned there was something else I wanted to bring up.
He did.
I wasn't paying attention, so it doesn't count.
Well, that pretty much sums up this whole podcast. So,
shit.
I don't know if we've mentioned it on the podcast or just in our private conversation, but I think we've all been expressing some worry, I guess, about the whole WWE Network to Peacock transition. Now, I haven't done it on my account yet. Obviously, I'll have to in 2 weeks. Yeah. I heard that there were some issues with watching Fastlane on Peacock.
I watched that on the WWE Network still.
Yeah,
so did I.
Changed over this week.
Yeah, I heard there were some issues with watching Fastlane on Peacock about not being able to pause, not being able to rewind, which I think we've heard that stuff before, and which is really, quite frankly, a pain in the ass. But what I wanted to talk about was, did you hear about the content censorship?
Yes.
Oh yeah, all over the news.
They're going back and watching everything, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
bye ECW stuff.
I
know that's the shit that's the one that's gonna piss me the fuck off.
I am not happy about this, and I'll tell you why. I am not the kind of person who gets offended by content that was made in the past that was of the time then, and that is offensive now. And frankly, in a lot of cases, was offensive then. I don't get easily offended by shit like that. I also flip a gasket, though, when, as an example, Disney Plus goes and puts disclaimers in front of episodes of The Muppet Show or in front of viewings of Peter Pan and Dumbo, kind of just warning about, hey, look, there's content in this that was a product of its time that doesn't play today. I don't have a problem with those warnings. I think that's perfectly acceptable. And the whole thing within WWE Network, there were settings and controls that you could enable that would just kind of automatically block stuff that was deemed to be objectionable. So what I'm saying is, I want the choice. I don't want Peacock telling me I can't watch the Roddy Piper versus Bad News Brown WrestleMania 6 match. Full disclaimer, I would never watch that match because I remember it from watching it the day that the pay-per-view aired back in 1990, and the match was shit. But
isn't that the one where Roddy Piper did half blackface, half whiteface?
Right. This is why it's being removed. I want the choice because there's been two things which people have noticed, Jeremy, because you seem to be the only one who didn't seem to be aware of this. There's been two things that people have already said have been removed. So everything involving Roddy Piper and Bad News Brown at WrestleMania 6, which means Piper's pre-match promo and the match itself are apparently gone. Because Piper was painted half black. And the moment at Survivor Series 2005 was where Vince was walking backstage, walked up to Cena and said, "What up, my N-word?" Then to walk past Booker T, who's looking shocked and says to Sharmell, "Tell me he did not just say that." That moment is gone too. Now, I'll be perfectly honest. I have no problems with that moment being removed because it doesn't add anything to the show. It's relevant. And again, even for the time when it was made, 2005, it was a complete, what in the fuck were you thinking moment?
Yeah, that never made sense to me either.
So I don't have a problem with that moment being removed.
That's Vince being Vince.
I do have a problem where they're removing a match where it changes like the whole flow of a show, which is what they're doing with Roddy Piper. But the problem is now, what else are they going to remove? Well, those DX Nation promos, they're going to be gone. And I totally understand why. Blackface is not cool. It wasn't cool in 1998. It wasn't cool when we did it. We didn't need to do that part of it. We could have done it without doing the blackface.
It was awesome when you did it, Pat. What are you talking about? It's still footage.
What I'm saying is
we have of you.
What I'm saying is we could have done it with it. What I'm saying is we could have done it without the blackface part. We didn't need to do the blackface part. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
See, I don't remember you having partial blackface, but that's okay.
I don't remember that promo at all.
That's right. We won't be showing that when we do our CWA episode anyway. So
certainly will not. If you guys try to show it, I will fucking drive to all your houses and kill all you.
Oh well, that's interesting.
Are you sure you don't want to put out there? I'd like to see this take place now.
No, yeah, slow death. Gotta catch me first, fucker.
No, I'd save you for last. You're closest. Therefore, you require the least effort.
It's actually evidently going to get me when I'm sleeping.
But anyway, so the question, of course, becomes, what the hell else could they possibly deem offensive? And the answer is a lot. I mean,
you got to take out the whole attitude era. Fuck it.
The whole attitude era could be gone. I choppy your pee. That's going to be gone. Which is
fucking hilarious.
That was kind of stupid, but that'll probably be gone. Who knows about what kind of number of like ECW stuff could be removed?
Oh, yeah. There's no way the Heatwave promo is going to be on there, Joe. I'll tell you that right now.
Who knows?
Yeah, I know.
Who knows what amount of
I'm pissed.
Jim Cornette NWA promos from World Championship Wrestling shows from the mid '80s are going to be gone. Are they going to remove like the incident where from NWA where Jimmy Valiant called Pez Whatley the best black athlete in the country, and Pez Whatley got so offended that he started beating up Jimmy Valiant and cutting his hair and shit? They're going to remove all of that angle, and it's gonna be too much. They're still going to miss stuff that's probably more offensive than stuff that they do remove. And again, this could be the reason why like the whole like network library doesn't get loaded into Peacock until SummerSlam and shit.
Wow.
So I really think that this is just a big indication that this whole network to Peacock transition, it's going to be great for Vince and WWE stockholders financially. It's going to be shit for all of us who are trying to just enjoy the history.
Joe, there are right now. I went on there. There are 0 takeovers. None of them are on there right now. 0 NXT and that's what I go back and watch more than anything, and none of them are on there right now.
It's gonna take a while for them to get all that shit on there, because all they're gonna do is go through. They're gonna rewatch every single fucking thing and fucking nitpick everything.
And the fact
that you bunch of cocksuckers.
And the fact that Vince McMahon, when he sold the rights, said that sure, it's okay, is fucking insane, because he doesn't have a clue what it's doing to his product and what people are going to not be able to take advantage of. So, and I just want to make this one last point in regards to just this whole censorship thing. I understand that there is a level of sensitivity that everybody should have towards everybody. I get that. But there also has to be a level of understanding time frames, eras, and content based on when it was made, and the fact that this is a show, this is a book, this is this. It's not meant for you to take as a fucking realistic thing and say, this is how life should be. For instance, real quick, Dr. Seuss books. It's a fucking book with a fucking picture in it. Now, I get that the picture of the Asian, Oriental, whatever word you want to use to describe the person that's illustrated in the book, is a comical satire of a person. But if you do not understand that this is a book, and you cannot tell your kids when they're reading this fucking book, or you're reading it to them, that this is not how Asian people actually fucking look, then that is your own fucking problem. To have a fucking book removed from a kid's library saying you can't read this book because it's got a picture of an Asian person and it's not right is ridiculous. And that's the problem that I have with the way society is going, nobody wants to take responsibility to teach anybody everything. They want everybody to make it perfectly right for everybody. So nobody has to think and nobody has to do anything, and everybody can have a super clear conscience. Well, guess what? If you don't fucking understand the world, you're never going to be able to fucking live in it. And if you treat everybody so peasantly nice, what's going to happen when somebody's fucking mean to you? You're going to fucking fall apart.
Well, okay.
Not everybody's nice. And it just because you take things out of the book doesn't make people any less fucking racist than what they already are, because it's not the book that makes them racist. It's the fucking people that they hang around with and the fucking thoughts that they're fed on a daily basis.
Well,
that's the fucking truth.
Well, two things about that. One, that's why you just put a disclaimer on there. Okay.
Right.
You put the disclaimer at the top of the program saying that, this movie, this show, this episode was produced at a time where, norms were different and society was more tolerable of intolerant thought, however you want to verse it, that's why you put the disclaimer on. I don't agree with just one person or one group of people just making that decision. Now, the Dr. Seuss thing, look, Dr. Seuss, the company that owns the Dr. Seuss books, is the ones who made that decision. They're the ones who made the decisions to say, you know what, the content in these books are offensive now. They were really offensive then. I mean, if people weren't finding offense to it then, that's just because people were unenlightened then.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
That was a decision that was made by the company that owns them. They proactively said, you know what, we don't think these represent what our company should be anymore. No different than somebody saying, you know what, we're not going to have this character on anymore. Or like the Simpsons saying that, we're not going to have Hank Azaria voice of Pooh anymore because it's offensive for a white American guy to be, voicing an Indian, character and everything like that. When the companies themselves make those decisions, that's the company themselves making that decision.
Right. They're self-censoring, and I get it. I understand it.
I think you have to respect when a company does it. You want to raise problems when if there's an outcry by the public. I mean, you can do that, but again, at the same time, if that's where the public wants it to go, at some point you have to let the public make that decision. That's what living in a democratic society also, I think, comes down to in a lot of cases. So the whole Dr. Seuss thing got overblown because there are certain groups of people who, when things like this happen, they just go insane about it, and they use it as distractions for other issues that are much more severe, much more important that are going on. And again, you talk about people if people can understand that's not what Asian people actually look like, or this, that, or the other thing. There was a study that came out recently within the last week or two, I think, that said that once people who were in power started referring to it as the Asian flu or the China flu and everything, the amount of hate crimes against Asian Americans rose exponentially. And we just had a mass shooting, which was a hate crime against Asian Americans. So, you talk about people not taking responsibility and stuff, people don't. And there's the proof of that. So right. if removing that book can just help to play against stereotypes, then fine, because we need to move past that shit.
Right. And I'm not against companies self-censoring. And I just want to put this out. I have tolerance for everything. Okay. People, everything. I understand it. And I don't have a problem with companies self-censoring, but there has to be a point in time where people have to educate themselves instead of letting everybody else educate them. Take some self-responsibility somewhere along the line. Not everybody's going to. So sometimes you have to, as a company, individuals, whatever, help the public out. But somewhere along the line, people have to educate themselves. I educate my kids. I know Theo educates his kids. If you don't educate your kids, you're not making them any better. And that's the unfortunate thing. And I want to kill that right now because I want to get on to our fucking podcast here.
Hey Pat, how does it feel? How does it feel that the guy you stole your finishing maneuver from is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame?
The Great Khali.
Well, all I can say about that is this. Are you really that surprised that they're putting him in the Hall of Fame?
No, I just the funny part of it is that you took his finisher. So
I think you did it better.
I see. I don't think so much that I took his finisher.
It mimicked whatever.
As that I was assigned his finisher.
This is what
you were assigned.
This is what you will do, bitch.
I don't seem to remember saying, yeah, I want to do that move. I seem to remember somebody else, not sure who it was, saying, hey, I think you should do the chop as your finisher.
All right. So Theo, now that we've really sidetracked into a whole different
to the great colleague. He seems like a nice guy.
I can't wait to hear him talk because that should be fucking awesome.
Yes.
I'm imagining his acceptance speech will be short. I mean, again, I don't even know what kind of speeches they're going to do because are they doing it in front of a live crowd?
Probably not.
They friends and family. They said it's just going to be. I think everybody's allowed to invite 3 people, or like it's some limit for each person. So that's it. So it's probably going to be 50 people maybe in the crowd.
Yeah, it's almost kind of silly that they're still even doing it, but whatever.
It's taped.
All right, Theo. What the hell are we talking about tonight?
Well, I mean, we were just talking about nothing for nothing. That means nothing. That's absolutely nothing for everybody. Nothing.
Nothing.
There we go.
Nothing times nothing equals nothing.
Except snapping into a Slim Jim.
If you take 75% of 120%, you get 115%. So
which is nothing.
My whole contract in WCW was paid for by Slim Jim.
This show is fucking derailed. Something fierce.
The guy on Young Rock Savage did that too. He's like, "Ooh yeah, dig it."
Wait, say that again.
The guy on the Young Rock that's playing Savage, he did that. He did the whole, "Ooh yeah, dig it," like he was on the phone, and he did it.
Yeah, that. I'm not sure why Savage would have shown up on that show, but I don't remember him and Rocky Johnson being in WWE at the same time, so I could be wrong on that.
Do you watch it, or you don't watch it, Pat? Or
I have seen a couple bits and pieces. I remember seeing the one episode from a couple weeks ago, which I found funny because it's when he was going to watch his dad wrestle, and he was trying to take the girl to it, and they were talking about how it was taking place at Northampton Community College, one of my alma maters. Wait, what happened?
I was unstable.
Oh, okay.
But you guys already knew that.
All right, whatever.
Everybody's been fine on my screen.
I haven't much watched it. I might go back and watch it like on Hulu or something because when I get bored. So
it's entertaining. I like it. So
how far along are we on the show already?
Sorry,
about 45 minutes or so.
I started doing Rat Savage, so.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, we're like a bunch of little fucking children. We can't stay on track. We're like So let's try this one more time. Theo, what the hell are we talking about tonight?
A short lady and a red dude.
A short lady and a red dude.
The devil.
Yeah, I mean that could be it. We could talk about Lucifer. That would work.
I'm looking at, he kind of looks a little purplish.
Well, whatever, magenta.
He's magenta. I like
magenta.
He's magenta with a yellow stone in his goddamn forehead. I mean, the picture I'm looking at him, I guess he is magenta. Yeah, purplish magenta. He's T-Mobile colors, and a witch who wears red. Wanda Vision. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to talk about. Or try to talk about at least,
It says Elizabeth Olsen is 5'6". I don't know if I call that short, but okay.
She's almost as tall as I am. I'm not going to call her short.
Standing next to him, she's short.
Well, he's 6'3", so yeah.
Yeah, he's a big
course,
dude.
Why I said
realize he was
short
so tall.
lady and Yeah, he's a tall dude.
It's like Joe and his wife standing next to each other.
I'm 6'2" and she's 5'4".
There you go.
It would be like Joe and his other wife standing next to each other, Alexa Bliss and Joe.
I'm 6'2" and she's 5 foot of awesomeness.
5 foot of nothingness.
Of sexiness, that's what it is.
I wish you're 5 foot nothing. You're right, 5 foot nothing.
Standing next to me would be funnier, but yeah.
Well, anybody standing next to you,
you would be blushing the whole time, Pat, and trying to control yourself probably if that was happening.
Anybody standing next to you, Darth Pat, is kind of odd looking. Unless it's the Big Show himself, then he looks then you can look normal.
All white, damn it!
There is no more Big Show.
No more BS. Thank you, Pat.
All right. Yes. So Wanda Vision is what we're talking about. All right. So cool.
I think so.
No, this was, and I just want to say, as we get into this, is when I first heard the title, I was a little confused by the title. I'm not going to lie. I was like, Wanda Vision. I'm like, did they take out the Wanda? Did they take out the word and? I'm like, is it Wanda and Vision? No. And then as I'm watching it, I'm like, now the whole title makes sense. I had to watch the first episode for the title to make sense, because now I'm like, okay, it's a sitcom of the world that she's created. So it's Wanda's Vision. So it's kind of, I thought it was really cool play on words.
Double vision.
Right, because Vision's in it, but it's also Wanda's Vision because she created it, but it's also Wanda's television show. So it's like a really cool play on words the way they did that show. So I wanted to throw that out there so I can kind of make myself look like an idiot to start off with, and make it easy for everybody.
Makes sense to me. I mean, it's probably how they went about it.
But yes,
play on words.
So this show, I thought it was really good to begin with. I was a little lost on the first episode, not because of the title, because of just, it was like a lot of like, what the hell is going on? Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, because I didn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember any backstory. It was just like, all of a sudden they're showing up at Westview. Yeah. And they're like, there is no Westview. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So yeah, that was a little confusing just for the first episode. You had to watch. So if you only watched one episode and never went back, you're going to be confused as shit. You had to watch the second episode in order for the first episode to start making sense. So overall thoughts.
First episode was just there. I enjoyed the sitcom parodies from the decades they went through. They took us couple bits and pieces from different, like I Love Lucy and all that stuff, and kind of threw it in there and made it like that. Bewitched, Growing Pains. God, what are the ones?
Family Ties.
Family Ties. Yeah, that was cool. One with the sketch, the picture of them. Family Ties. Yeah, just the way they, the Brady Bunch too, with the way the room and the stairs they had coming down like that.
Yeah,
so it was cool. Her going through different decades. And then you find out later on why she did that. You know what I mean? With the sitcoms and whatnot. But that was, it was weird though. It was cool to see that, but it was kind of weird at the same time, because I'm sitting there through episode 1, like, okay, they're not really telling me much. I'm just watching, I'm just watching a normal sitcom with those two in it, with these random people trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. But I mean, it was a weird first episode, but I enjoyed it. It was different. It was kind of like, you knew, like, reading up to this, that they were doing something totally different. So it was kind of a matter of what they were going to do and see how they were going to go with it.
Well, yeah, with this being the first Marvel TV show spinoff off of the movies, they really did a hell of a job. Like, overall on this show, like, there wasn't an episode that I thought was a stinker. I was like, this is a really good show, and it makes sense, like, in the Marvel universe, to continue like the story of what the hell happened to Wanda Maximoff after the incident, after Endgame. What happened to her and what did her life turn into? So it gives you all that backstory, because we know it's leading up to into the next movie that they're going to release, which I think she's going to be in Doctor Strange 2, I think is where they're leading this up to. So it gives you enough backstory to see how does she get to be in that movie? Like, why does she make an appearance in that movie? So I thought that was pretty cool too. AJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing. Oh, okay.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Okay.
I liked it. I remember I think I felt a little bit disappointed at the end.
Okay.
In the last episode, I felt like I was a little bit disappointed. So I liked it. I think it was cool that we got to see Agatha. Like, I don't think anybody necessarily saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a surprise, kind of.
I figured it was going to happen sooner or later, just when they were going to reveal her as being actually Agatha.
Yeah, I had no idea. That was a complete surprise to me. And I was actually very thrown off. I'm like, because I remember texting you guys when I watched that episode. I'm like, what the fuck is, like, what the hell's going on here? Like, did she make this character up in her mind and like gave her superpowers, like to make the show interesting? But to find out that she was actually a witch from, very, very long time ago with Salem and all that stuff.
Days. Yep.
And she sucked the powers out of the people that tried to crucify her, I guess, so to say, the other witches. I wasn't quite sure what they were trying to do when they had her.
They were trying to burn her. They were going to burn her at the stake.
Yeah.
Well, it was the other witches, though. So it was a little odd to, like, that kind of threw me off with the whole witches trying to burn a witch at the stake. So it was a little weird.
They were trying to burn her, take her powers, but unfortunately, they didn't realize that she could absorb their powers.
Yeah.
So that backfired. Yeah, her mother.
The episode when they like, we found out who she was. That episode was funny when they went back and showed some of the stuff that she had done.
Mm-hmm.
Like that part was funny. I thought that was cool. Like, especially when she was like sitting in the truck with Vision. That part was funny to me.
Yeah. Especially when like he found her at the end of the street. And she was like all confused. He looks up, she's like, oh, it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's funny. Yeah, I had a feeling she was going to be Agatha. I just wanted them to actually like legitimately just reveal it. I just wanted it to get. I was kind of anxious for them to reveal it because Agatha has like another plethora of all kinds of other shit going on with her character herself and her character involving Wanda, Vision, and the Avengers in general. So there's a whole backstory for her too. So
is she a legit villain?
No, she's a tweener.
Yeah,
Joe told me she's like a tweener.
She goes back and forth. Like in the comics, she's been a bad guy. She's also been, she's also helped the Avengers. There was like a storyline where she was like the babysitter for their kids. Mm-hmm. She was like the kids' nanny or whatever. And helping them with their powers. So she's been back and forth in regards to it. Yeah. But ultimately, sometimes she deep down, she wants her powers, of course.
My favorite like part of all of it was seeing Evan Peters Quicksilver. Like that was my favorite part, seeing that version of Quicksilver. So because I liked him better he was better. I like that version of Quicksilver from the X-Men movie better than the Quicksilver from the Marvel movies.
Yeah, that was kind of like, that was a cool twist to the end of that show. But there was just something in the back of my mind, like, okay, are they going to run with this? Or are they going to be like, haha, and just kick us right between the legs and be like, we got you guys.
Which is what they did. But...
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. They're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU very shortly. So we'll see what happens with that. So you never know. Something could come out of that down the road. Maybe something not. It all depends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But there was when it comes to the Wanda Vision show, there was You know, I was a little, I'm not going to lie, I was a little confused with the Agatha thing just because I was not, when it comes to comic books, the comic books that I read were all X-Men comic books. So I was big on the X-Men stuff, but not the other type comic books. I know, Theo, you're kind of a comic book junkie when it comes to like different comic books. Like you have a plethora of different types of storylines and stuff, or at least a little bit here or there.
Yeah.
Definitely way more than I know. So, you know, that was nice when you were kind of cluing us in with who Agatha was and stuff like that, and some of the other things that happened within the MCU and that. Trying to think if there was anything else that was confusing.
I mean, it was cool to see Monica Rambeau. Like, it was cool to see her because we know we're going to see her in Captain Marvel 2 now, I think. So,
yeah. And plus, you know, we might see her, I mean, the season finale, the cut scene where she goes in the theater. So that whole thing, because that's going to be the next TV series after Loki, supposed to be. So for Marvel,
was
so
that?
once they get, that's the Invasion TV series. The green person, the Skrulls.
The Skrulls.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what that's about. They were originally, I believe what I read a couple of years ago, they were thinking about making a movie of that.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the thing with the Skrulls is that it's very, in the comics, it was kind of long per se.
It's hard to put it into a movie.
So putting it into a 3-hour movie is kind of like stretching it a little bit. You're not going to get everything you need out of it. So putting it into like a 9 or 10 episode, I think 10 episodes would be sufficient to put that in there.
Right, because the Skrulls are the ones that can copy people's appearances, right?
Shape shift, pretty much.
Yeah, I remember watching. They did an animated series with the Skrulls and the Avengers and how they copied everything. And I forget who actually figured it out that these aren't the real superheroes. These are Skrulls. These are imposters. And then they found they had to find the real Captain America and all that shit. And
Pat, what did you think?
What
the show? I don't know, something. You haven't really said anything yet.
Well, you guys were having a conversation. And,
it's all right that he's quiet.
I've talked a lot already, so
yeah, we could get a 20-minute dissertation on just Vision's backstory. Shh.
My thought about the series overall was this. I thought it took a little too long to get going. I thought it was really good in the middle. And I feel like they didn't stick the landing.
You got to stick that landing. Get a lot of point deductions on that.
Now, the one thing that I will comment on is this. You talk about, I didn't know it was going to be Agatha. I saw that predicted almost from the start, because it's like the shit that shows up on my Facebook feed. I guess because of other stuff I've clicked on and commented on in the past, I get all these comic book groups and movie groups that show up, and it seems like every 2 hours a new group is posting a new article with a new theory about what's going to happen in Wanda.
Yeah, I know. There's so many of them.
And I can't read that shit. I go, my mind goes.
I even start going cross-eyed at this because I'm no Marvel comic expert. I mean, if I know DC better than Marvel in terms of comics, but I also recognize that comic books and TV shows and films are all different forms of media. It doesn't matter what the fuck happened in a comic book. It doesn't mean they're going to do that same exact thing in a goddamn television show or movie. So, I don't really necessarily care that much about who this character was in the comics or whatever, because they could change it. Now I lost my train of thought. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Okay, so no, there were all kinds of fucking theories about Mephisto is going to show up and he's going to be the actual main villain, and Mephisto was actually the husband that Agatha kept mentioning, who never actually appeared. And I, of course, was just saying to myself, idiots, that's just a call to the old sitcom trope of the character that always gets talked about but is never seen, which has been in almost every sitcom from the beginning of time.
Yep.
Shit like that. Then somebody had something about how the fucking Fantastic Four were going to show up in this, and it was going to be the way to bring them into the MCU. And I'm like, they are not going to introduce the Fantastic Four into the MCU and some like, throwaway 5-minute part that they tacked onto the end of an episode of this series. That's just not the way you do things.
That would just ruin it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, so there was.
Dude, did you see how many people read my article about the Fantastic Four being in Wanda Vision? It's awesome.
I was right. It kind of felt like that's, it is all just clickbait bullshit. Yeah, you're exactly right. So there was just way too much shit like that, and by the end, I was just like getting tired of it. But I just feel like that they still didn't quite stick the landing because it still didn't. I don't think it still made perfect sense. What happened to the White Vision?
Yes.
Was the guy as Quicksilver? Who was he? Was he just some person who Agatha was controlling? And
well, they did explain that he was just some guy Agatha was controlling in the show.
So she can give him superpowers too. Then I guess. I mean, so I feel like that was an inadequate explanation. Then, and the biggest problem really was that they left more questions unanswered than answered. And of course, I understand that, yeah, there's the lead into the Doctor Strange sequel, which, of course, we won't see for another fucking year. So it's like, by the time that comes out, is anybody even going to remember that this series was basically leading into it?
Possibly.
Who knows? Yeah, well, it depends on what the fuck happens in the next year.
That's so true.
So I just feel like the ending was a little less than satisfying. Overall, I mean, I would say I'd like the show, but didn't love it. I would definitely agree with AJ on that one. The show looked good. It definitely hit the right notes in terms of like the sitcom mimicry. I thought it was well acted, especially by Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. I thought they were both really good, and I also liked, Kat Dennings and Randall Park.
Park, baby.
And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the actress who, the Captain Marvel's friend's daughter. I can't remember the actress's name.
Nope. No.
So I thought it was well acted, and Catherine Hahn was great too. Catherine Hahn's pretty much always great. So
yeah, she is.
Here, I'll tell you who it was. Tiana Paris.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't really know what I had seen her in before. Like, the other actors, I'm familiar with them from other things or whatever. So, one other thing that I also kind of bothered me is, Kat Dennings' character tells her about how her molecular structure has been changed because she's gone through the wall, the force field, whatever you want to call it, a couple of times. But then what about all like the agents who were like swallowed up in it when like Wanda expanded it, which included Kat Dennings? Are all their molecular structures changed now too? So it's like, because I don't really think you can use that as an excuse for one person why she suddenly starts to have superpowers, and all these other people are now not going to. So that might be something that I think that they might have not thought through, or it needs to be further explained at some point. So we'll see. Again, it was I think it was important though for Marvel to do something for their first show, much like it was important for Star Wars' first show, to be something that at least got people talking, got people interested. I think on that level, they definitely succeeded.
Yeah. No, there was definitely, I'm not saying the entire show was fantastic. I mean, I evidently enjoyed it more than Darth, Pat, and AJ, but, it definitely gives people something to talk about, gives them something to watch that's not one of the movies. Threw some different things in there that we didn't see. And if you're an Easter egg person, evidently there was a ton of Easter eggs in
every episode. There was a shitload. There was at least 10 in every episode.
I saw a couple of them. I must say the one of them had to do with like Hydra. Was it Hydra soap, like hydration, or like some kind of Hydra soap, and it had the Hydra label on it. I caught that one as far as one of the Easter eggs. That shit was funny to me. You had mentioned one of the other ones was like the Stark, like toaster or something like that. There was like a Stark toaster and shit like that. Like, there was so much stuff. Like, unless you like, I'm not one to go back and watch and like look for weird stuff like that. I don't think anybody else in our group really is, and maybe Joe, maybe.
I do.
Okay.
The only thing I would go back and look for Easter eggs on stuff like that would be as if it was Star Wars related, and even then, I probably would only if I really felt like I had to. So
yeah,
I wouldn't go looking for Easter eggs on this.
Yeah, I do it if like somebody calls it out. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, you got to watch like right after this happens, there's this thing if you pay attention." Then I'll go back and watch like for that moment and see if I can find it like other people do. So that's the only time I really look for Easter eggs, and it's got to be something really cool. Like most of the time, like a lot of times they're like it's really lame and it's like 1 second and you miss it. I'm like, well, that's not really worth my time.
One of the things they did I think they did, like I liked it a lot overall. I feel like they purposely made it to make us wait for the good shit or the good part of the series to happen. There were a ton of Easter eggs. And I think one of the things that really hurt the series for some people is too many people bought because of all the Easter eggs. Because there's one of the episodes, just the beginning of it. That with the show, which sitcom it was basing it off of, but you see like it was the cartoon beginning, and they go through the floor, and in the floor and the frame of the house, you see a reference to Mephisto, and you see a reference to all kinds of other shit that's in the comics that's related to Wanda in general. So it's kind of like people started writing about that, and I think the problem is that all that stuff that Pat read, and I read a lot of it too. All the rumors, I think people got they just bought into so much of it. Like Fantastic Four, Reed Richards was going to be the guy who was going to bring that ship over to Rambo to go in at the like episode 8 or whatever it was, so she can get in. Like no, they're not going to do that. People, I think, bought so much into it that when they watched the last 2 episodes, they were like, oh yeah, assholes, because you read too much shit on fucking line, and then it ruined it for yourself instead of just fucking watching the goddamn show.
I mean, I personally liked how it ended. It was nice it was cool to figure out, like when they introduced White Vision, I was like, oh shit, like what the fuck.
Yeah I mean, they have to, that has to continue somewhere. Is that going to continue in, we're going to see the White Vision show up in Doctor Strange 2, or are they going to randomly throw him somewhere else? I don't know. I'm wondering what the plans are going to do with that. I mean, it's cool that the end credits show 2 different things. One setting up for the next series, which is the Invasion. That's probably coming, I think, at the beginning of next year. And the rest Doctor of Strange Wanda. Too. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like I'm like, she can't just be all by herself in this little house. And I'm like, okay, she's just chilling by herself. And then when she walks in, you hear it, and I'm like, oh, what is she doing? And then she has the book, and I was like, oh, okay, there we go. She's going full-fledged Scarlet Witch now. This is awesome. So it kind of gets me excited to see what's going to happen in the Doctor Strange. And they did say too, the writers did say that the cat actually had the rabbit, right? Rabbit.
Yeah.
The rabbit actually had significance, but they kind of left it out because they didn't have enough time to really dive deep in it. But the rabbit does have significance.
So the one thing I gotta
ask, curious what that would have been.
So the one thing I gotta ask you guys though, and this is going back to kind of the comic books and some of the cartoons that I watched based on X-Men and everything like that. I thought Wanda, who is the Scarlet Witch, as well as Quicksilver, yes, I thought those were Magneto's kids.
Correct.
Okay. So
but since MCU, so it's because MCU didn't have X-Men rights, so they couldn't do that storyline.
Right. So I understand that they didn't have X-Men rights, and they can't go back and change it now because that would really just fuck up everything.
They could.
Well, it'll kind of mess things up, but because
the whole multiverse, they could change that shit around.
Because what confused me
6 months
is when they started showing, and I'm sure they showed it in Age of Ultron, some, and I just don't remember it, is how Wanda and her brother Pietro got their powers. Pietro. How they got their powers, and I was like, just a sec. this was like, I'm like, okay, they had to rework this for just the MCU because of non-X-Men related stuff. I'm like, did I fuck something up in my mind and forget that they weren't really Magneto's kids or something? I was like, what the hell happened to my head?
There was a post-credit scene in whatever the last movie was prior to Age of Ultron. I don't remember if it was Iron Man 3 or if it was Winter Soldier.
There's definitely a post-credit scene where you see both of them like in cells or whatever.
In the test cells, yeah.
It's like they're being like, held by whatever the Hydra entity was at that point and everything. And then they're introduced fairly early on in Age of Ultron because that's like where the Eight Avengers are attacking in the first scene of that movie. But yeah, see, that was the whole thing. They were saying like, they got their powers that way, but then of course she's saying, oh no, you've always had your powers. So that's something that's obviously going to require further exploration.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I think they did that on purpose because, at the time, I don't think that's the way they wanted to do it. But I think after they got the X-Men back and when they started writing this, I think this might be their way of like their explanation of showing her watching I Love Lucy and showing what happened in that cell, that she always had her powers. That'd be like, okay, there's always been mutants. So there's mutants here, but their powers haven't, progressed. Because pretty much that's how they do it in the comics and stuff,
Yeah,
you have your powers, and all of a sudden at a certain age they
manifesting
fruition and all that stuff, and they come out and all that. So that might be their way of just doing that little subtle as a foreshadowing to, the X-Men coming in and the mutants and all that jazz, using the word mutants now and being able to. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. I think that was some foreshadowing for some future shit.
And the other thing that I thought was really for me, because of not knowing, I was doing X-Men comics, but I never got it. For some reason, I never came across any with the Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver in it. Seeing how massive her powers are, because in the mutant realm, she would be like a category 5 or 6 mutant, like the highest level mutant with the amount of powers that she has. Same with how Jean Grey was. Jean Grey was a level 5 mutant because she had such massive powers and abilities. So it's kind of interesting how we got to see like how powerful she is, being able to create this whole world, be able to capture people's minds so that they would act out scenes the way that she wanted them to, being able to manifest vision out of her own grief, be able to manifest her own kids, because that's what she wanted. Like, it was really, really crazy, but really, really cool at the same time to see how powerful she is. How well she's able to manipulate the world and recreate it in the way that she wants it to be, which is kind of scary too, because she could just like take over the whole world if she really wanted to.
I think you're being very sexist talking about how massive her powers are.
Wow. Wow. See, the other thing too was like, they had the levels of mutants, but they also had the certain mutants where they called Nexus mutants, where she pretty much could whoop Jean Grey's ass if she really wanted to, probably even as the Phoenix version, for the most part, just because those Nexus mutants have the power to rewrite time and all that stuff and reality and some other crazy jazz they can do as well. So by the world though, I'm just glad they kind of like, I've been kind of waiting since she was introduced to actually be full-fledged Scarlet Witch. And I was hoping that was going to happen in this series, because if that didn't happen in the series, that probably would have disappointed me. If I would have had to wait till a fucking movie to see that shit, I would be like, fuck. Yeah. So that's something I really wanted to happen in this series.
Yeah. And the new outfit was interesting too, in that it's it's reminiscent of the classic Scarlet Witch design without being nearly as
risque,
buxomly revealing as the. Which she basically wore that costume in the Halloween episode anyway, so that was at least a nod to it and everything. I thought that was was interesting. So Yeah. I also just want to point out, I think I mentioned before, it's I thought the show was really well acted and everything. I also just, think it's kind of continues to be funny how at first the way that it seems like everybody first knew Elizabeth Olsen was like, oh, she's Mary Kate and Ashley's younger sister. Well, at least we know she got the acting talent.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and now everybody goes, "Who's Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen?"
kind of almost. So.
They probably those two pretty much falling off the face of the earth as far as people remembering them.
They just don't act. They do they have like the fashion line and all this other shit supposedly. So whatever.
Yeah.
But the one of the other cool scenes for me is where Wanda is like in that midst of kind of realizing who she is as the Scarlet Witch, and she's fighting Agatha and they're flying around and she's like hitting her with some of the, her powers, but she's also throwing some of the powers out at no man's land, and, only to reveal at the very end where Agatha tries to, suck the power out of her and like get everything out of her to know that she wrote that like
she wrote
across the area, and she's like the one who writes is the only one that can possess magic inside, and she's like, oh shit.
She like legit knew she was done at that point, like, oh my god. That was a cool oh shit moment.
Yeah you done fucked up.
Exactly.
You messed up, Aaron.
But in the same sense, kind of a dumb scene was where Vision is talking to the White Vision and he gives him all the memories. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to fly off and fucking go away. I'm like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, where are we going to see him next?
Well,
what's his evolution? What's his evolution going to be in this story now?
Right. And the fact that he has the memories now, like, brings a lot of questions into, okay, is he going to be good now? Because we know he was built to destroy Wanda and the fake Vision, which was really completely fake because it wasn't ever real at all. We know that's why he was created, and that they wiped everything out of the memory that they had to make him the ultimate, like, killing machine, essentially, which is the complete opposite of what Tony Stark created Vision for in the Age of Ultron movie. He was supposed to be essentially a helper and fight for good and all that stuff. And, it'll be interesting to see what they do, how they bring White Vision back into it. Will it be only in the TV show? Will it be in a movie? And what kind of character is he going to be? Is he going to be in turmoil of, am I, a killing machine, or am I much more than that? It'll be very interesting, because one of the things I always found very odd about this whole thing is that Wanda's in love with a fucking machine.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
in the comic, she said it's not about the body; it's about the soul.
So
the soul is what falls in love.
Technically, he's a machine because he's made out of parts, but he's also like a synthetic mind and AI. He's like, it's really weird. But anyways, it's like, I love this thing that has emotions because it's a constantly learning machine. I'm like, this is kind of weird, but okay, sure.
Good answer.
So that always kind of threw me off, but I'm like, oh, well, okay. And everybody can love whoever they want to, I've always believed in that, but this is still fucking weird.
Yeah, it's been going on since the 70s. They got married in 1975 in the comics. Avengers number 4, I think. It was a double-sized issue.
Ooh, a double-sized.
That was the year I was born.
Or a super-sized issue, however they put it back in the day.
That's what my wife calls me, a supersized issue.
Oh, Lord. Jesus fucking Christ.
Every episode, something's got to come up.
Thanks for the TMI.
AJ's like, I've seen it.
You're
it's
like
not
cringing. I'm just laughing because I think it's funny.
That's
Shit.
What is he doing? I'm so confused. I guess that's my role in this show, is the confused one.
Matt just kept saying that's gross.
I was doing it in like a voice like, oh, that's John.
Okay.
Okay now. I promise.
So does anybody have anything else to add about WandaVision? Any final thoughts?
Well, I have a question for all of you.
Ooh, question.
Will ever be a WandaVision series 2?
I doubt it.
I also doubt.
I don't know. I'm torn. I want there to be, but I don't know what they would do. Like, I really don't know where it would go.
Well, I think for one thing, it probably couldn't take place until after
Doctor Strange
sequel, and so we'll have to build off of whatever happens there, obviously. But it also, I think, the availability of the actors is always obviously going to be a big thing too. But I think it would also really depend upon if they actually feel like they have a story that needs to be told. So, I mean, and that's kind of like the good thing that about this series, and where it seems like they're going after 2 episodes with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and presumably where they're going to go with Loki and everything, just kind of help to expand those characters out a little bit more, since they're not necessarily the characters who got the most amount of screen time in the movies.
Yeah.
So you do get to expand on those characters a little bit more, and that helps to enhance the overall thing. You get you more attached to the characters. It makes you care about them more. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, we'll have to see what they want to do. But let's say if they were to do another series with these characters, I definitely don't think it would be the way that they did this one. They're not going to do like all like the sitcom stuff and everything like that. I don't think you can try to do that more than once.
No, I don't.
It would be probably like a more of a normal show in itself.
Yeah. So one of the things that has me torn and this is leaning towards the doubt side, is I don't know if you can make a normal show out of these type of characters, because it's like, what would their normality be? Like, because in the movies they don't really have a story. Like, this was their story, like what happened to them afterwards. Like, everything that happened to Wanda that we know of all happened previously, and you get to see that in the movie. Like, where she comes from, how it happened. We know where Vision comes from, so it's not like they'd have to do everything new, and so they'd have to create a whole new story. But what do you base it on? Like, what is it, like them being superheroes? Is it them having like a family, which they can't actually
could
do?
be, because you hear the kid screaming while she's reading the book. So, you never know. I like Pat said, I think it's all going to depend on what happens in Doctor Strange 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that movie goes from start to end and they finish a story with Wanda or even Vision, I think Vision won't show up, and I think Vision will be in that movie at some aspect. Maybe he'll come and help save the day. Who the hell knows, with his memories back and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Maybe they might do something. Who knows? I kind of feel that like they don't really want to do season 2s of any of their TV shows for the MCU.
Yeah.
No, just because reading some of the interviews that I've read from the directors of the show so far, it just really doesn't seem like they're making this to have like a season 2. It's like, I feel like they're making these to intertwine into the movie,
because it's to be filler in between the movies. Like, I feel like it.
Yeah, to see where these guys are doing now, and to lead into X.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, instead of like in phase 1, all we ever really got was these extra scenes at the end of movies. Now they can give us a whole TV show instead of just a 2-minute or 30-second clip at the end of a movie. They're giving us whole TV shows instead of just those little snippets. I feel like that it's filler but it's better filler than the cutscene at the end of a movie.
Right. And they really need it now more than ever, just because of the fact that it's taken them forever to produce new movies. Like because of what's going on in the world, their normal production time on a movie is fucking exponentially longer.
Oh, they just keep bumping everything. So we're going to get Black Widow in the fall now or whatever.
Well, right now it's
July.
It's July 9th, and it sounds like, I mean, that's going to be the date because they're doing the whole
Disney
theater Plus. And Disney Plus
premiere
access same date. So I feel like once they've announced it that way, they're pretty much saying, yep, that's the date coming out no matter what now at this point. And shit, hopefully by July, things are a little bit more normal. I mean, I went to the movie theater a couple of weeks ago. I'm going again next week, so I'll be fully vaccinated next week. So, you know, I won't have a problem going to see the movie in July, especially if they're still doing like distancing and stuff. But we'll see what happens there. But even so, I would still go see it because I like going to the movie theater. If I'm going to pay $30 to see a movie, I'm going to go see it in a goddamn movie theater. I'm not going to sit and watch it at fucking home, unless it's like, you know, I have like a disc that I'm putting into a machine. That means that I actually fucking own it.
Yeah, I'll be going next Wednesday. See Godzilla and Kong.
I'll be watching that at home. So
yeah, me and my dad are going to go see it on Easter Sunday on the IMAX screen because we waited a little too long to try to get tickets, and there was like nothing really available for times we could go on Friday and Saturday next week, and I can't go midweek because of work. So yeah, we're going on Easter Sunday, but yeah, we're gonna go see Godzilla.
I actually may end up watching it on Easter Sunday because Zach's, I know he's coming over here, and we're gonna watch it. So
yeah, so
I myself will not watch that.
We're gonna watch Godzilla and Kong and Mecha Godzilla. Oops.
Oh yeah, don't worry. The toys already spoiled that one for everybody.
I know. I just curious to see how it all fits in. But yeah, well,
so am I.
That's another thing.
Definitely curious. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Doug, I'm waiting for that movie.
Yep. Nope. I saw the preview for that, and I said, yeah, that's that. I can't watch that.
Oh, my dad's. My dad was 7-8 years old. You know, when the first Godzilla came out back in the 50s, and I think
I've seen them all.
I've even seen most of those. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of those movies.
Well, that's what this is. This is like a Criterion collection. This is the whole Showa era film set from 1954 to 1975. I think I've seen like half of them at this point.
Seen it. I've seen every movie.
Yeah, but
I love it.
And obviously, I saw the horrible Independence Day guys, one from the late 90s, and yeah, I've seen some of the newer Japanese ones too. But I mean, like I said, like my dad was like 7 or 8 years old when the first one came out in the 50s, and I think he was pretty much like, just enthralled by the concept. Even though, of course, the original point of Godzilla was a cautionary tale about nuclear weapons and shit. At the end of the day, so you just want to see big giant lizards smash other monsters. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen one of the older Godzillas with the really bad dubbing, where I go, "Oh my god, it's Godzilla!" And so I've seen like one or two of those, and they are what they are. I have no desire at this time to watch those type of movies. Like I don't like any kind of giant lizard or giant animal movie. Like I don't have any interest in those. That's just not my genre to watch.
Oh, good.
So good. That's all.
Well, right. What if your son got into it? Would you watch him then?
If my son got into it, sure, I'd watch him with him. But I'm not gonna purposely put it on and, hey, buddy, watch this. It's just if he happens to find it. I mean, trust me, he finds some very interesting things that he watches on YouTube. Like he'll watch Ryan's World, and then all of a sudden Ryan's World will go off, and something else will come on that's like kid oriented, like these Marvel Masher things that they came out with, where you can mix Marvel characters together. He's like, Dad, put on the Mashers video. I'm like, ugh, like some dude playing with his freaking toys on YouTube. Like, really? Like,
that's funny.
Weirdos.
He watches a YouTube show of a guy playing with his action figures. That's kind of awesome and funny, all in the same concept there.
But and I'm calling them weirdos, and here we are. We're talking about freaking Marvel Studios stuff. Okay. So, well, look, that's a beautiful picture of Pat's back, his dirty laundry. Or is that the clean laundry that he's got to fold? I don't know.
Is it dirty or is it sticky?
Oh, damn it.
It could be both.
Had to go there.
I was going there. It was no stopping.
Well,
sticky laundry.
Anybody, even though Darth Pat has up and left us, decided to leave all of a sudden. Anybody got anything else to add about WandaVision that they want to leave us with or our viewers with?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. I like the whole concept.
I'd probably give it a 7.
And I was slow a little in the beginning, but as time went on, you can kind of see why they did that. But I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yeah, I'd probably be right there with you, somewhere between an 8 and 9 for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
What about you, Pat?
I think I'm like 7.5. Really, it's like I feel like it's a little bit better than a 7, but not quite an 8.
Yeah,
these two fucking losers. I'm kidding, guys.
Just imagine if they made it a cartoon. If they made it a cartoon, AJ wouldn't have watched it.
That's right.
And then we wouldn't be having this episode. He'd be like, I didn't fucking watch that shit. It's a cartoon. I ain't watching no fucking cartoons.
Damn straight.
All right.
I told you it was a cartoon with boobs, though. Boobs.
No, that would be one of our other friends that would want to watch that particular show.
That's my head. You're a bug All
right. So before we derail and the train falls off the tracks, crashes into a mountain, let's
Superman will come save us.
Well, we can talk about the Snyder Cut, sure.
No, we're not going to talk about that because I haven't seen it and I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to see it, but I heard it's really awesome, so I do want to probably see that now.
I liked it a whole bunch.
But I got to dedicate 4 hours of my life to that, so I got to figure a very good time to do that.
My whole issue with the Snyder Cut is I do have a very good friend who told me that he thought it was pretty good. But then when I kind of read the description over to just see that it's pretty much the exact same plot.
Well, yeah, of course.
And just fucked it up. I'm really sitting there saying, "Hey, do I really want to watch that though?" So I don't know.
To be honest with you, when I watched it, it didn't even seem like 4 hours.
All right,
it legit didn't seem like, because you're watching it.
He's right.
It's
I'll agree.
It's you had the beginning, and it's like chapter 1, and then you're going through chapter 2, and you're you just keep going through, and it's like, oh shit, we're 3 hours into this and it only feels like an hour and a half.
I mean, I watched it in 2 chunks. I didn't watch it all at once.
I watched the whole
2
thing
hours
straight
and then
through.
2 hours about.
I watched straight through.
Chapter 82, Batman stares into the abyss.
And the epilogue was cool. I that the ending part there.
Yes.
Because once you get to the end of the chapter 6, you're like, wait a minute. We saw trailers with this, and this in there, and
where is that shit?
And then you find out what all that happens.
All right. So with that being said, because we're not going to talk anymore about that, because that's not what our episode's about. But
this episode's been about everything.
It really kind of has,
but nothing under the sun.
That does bring us to the end of our show, which means it is time for and if you tuned in all the way and listened all the way to the end, it's time for Mount Rushmore. And Mount Rushmore is going to be this week about our favorite character from the show WandaVision. So who would like to start us off? Should I start us off? Somebody else want to start us off? Okay, I'll start us off.
Should start us off once he comes back to his child.
He keeps leaving.
He's, evidently he doesn't want to be on the show anymore. So we're going to officially write him out of the story. We're going to have him die a horrible death in the storyline.
Darth Pat's obituary.
Fell in the toilet.
Darth Pat, great friend, great dark side trainer, died of horrible death of too much oil.
she sucked him dry.
What are you talking about?
Died a horrible death of oral.
We're talking about the
drowning.
We're talking about the community episode where Pierce died, and when they finally asked, how did Pierce die anyway? And his lawyer's all like, oh, dehydration from filling up all those sperm containers. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, the opposite though. You know, you met the squirter of your life.
Jesus.
What? Did I just hear what I think you did say?
Yes,
I think I did hear that.
100%. Tell me
yes,
he didn't just say that.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
That's how he dies. It's on his headstone. Get it? Headstone. He died. Whatever.
All right, so let me start us off with the Mount Rushmore of favorite character from the Wanda Vision show, as Pat dies of drowning from oral.
Listen, the train is derailed. It's going through the mountain. It'll be sunk into a hole into the center of the earth. Superman better come save us now because we're fucked.
I don't even think Superman can save us now. So my favorite character in the Wanda Vision show was Kat Dennings, who played shit, I can't even remember who she played.
Darby.
Yeah, she played Darby. So
wasn't it Darby?
Actually my favorite sad thing, I can't even remember the character. I'm terrible with fucking names. I give up. But she was actually my favorite character because just she has that like snarky kind of attitude. Like she knows she's smart, but she kind of plays it down. But then when she needs to remind people that she's actually very intelligent, she tells them, she's not really kind of afraid to speak her mind when it's needed. Like she's not just out there being an ass. Like she has intention behind the things that she's doing and saying. So she was kind of my favorite character. And she was one of the characters that I really liked from the Thor movies too. Like when you saw her in Thor and that. So to see her in that show and kind of rehashing that role and then getting to see more interaction and see her and I, not that I regularly watch, but I caught a couple episodes. I did like her in that Two Broke Girls TV show. That she was good in that too.
I used to watch that from time to time. That was a funny show. They made me laugh.
So she was my favorite character, Kat Dennings. All right, who's going next?
I'll go.
All right.
Oh shit.
Really
watch him take the person I was going to.
Oral Roberts.
And this, no, I've never been a big fan of evangelists, to be honest. I mean, I think they're kind of assholes and shit, But anyway, no, my favorite character, believe it or not, was Randall Park's FBI agent Jimmy Woo, because
Jimmy Woo's awesome.
He was somebody who we'd seen before because he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, so he provided a connection to what we've seen before, so that always helps. And the fact that he's generally a good guy, and he's a pretty really like a straightforward character who. He's not going to be like a hindrance to the plot in the sense that he's constantly going to doubt what like the smarter people are saying to him, or like hold up things with like just like disbelief and stuff. He goes straight through and he like goes like where like the evidence will take him and shit like that. So, and he's determined to try to do the right thing, and I guess he also pretty much realizes that he feels like Wanda's not the enemy and everything. So there's just like a lot of good qualities to his character, and that he just wants to do right by everybody else. So, and he's also one of those guys who can be funny by not being funny. That's not really meant as an insult, even though it sounds like one. It's just like he's kind of funny by sometimes being the one who just says the thing that's like kind of clueless or just at a point, but you're not really laughing at him so much as you're just kind of laughing at the fact that here's a guy who's in an incredible situation. Like when we first see him in this show, like, he's there with like the local cops who are like, this town doesn't exist. And like he goes and like, he's just like looking at the sign right there that says the name of the town. He's like, So,
doesn't exist, eh?
Yeah. So he's great with like his reaction shots and stuff like that. So
he plays that same. He does that same stuff when he's on the Young Rock show. He's that same kind of like comedian type where he's not always trying to be funny. He just comes off as funny.
He's not overbearing when he tries to do it.
I also remember he appeared in one late season episode of The Office as like Asian Jim, where like Jim and Pam decided to play a prank on Dwight one day by having like their friend, who I can't remember the name that they gave him, sit in the office one morning and pretend to be Jim because Jim was at like a dentist appointment, and he was like acting like Jim, and he knew like all of Jim's like like passwords, and then there was even like a picture of like him with Pam with a couple of kids who looked Asian and everything. So it was one of the funnier office pranks too. And it's also kind of funny in a way because the guy who's rumored to play Reed Richards in the MCU version of Fantastic Four is John Krasinski, who was Jim on The Office. So just kind of it would be kind of funny if that ended up happening, and just kind of show how like almost everybody gets into the MCU at some point. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't like him. Not a big fan of his.
I'm actually not either, Jeremy. So.
I mean, to me, he's Jim. That's my issue. I haven't really. There's only been really a couple of things that I've seen him not be Jim. I should probably watch that Jack Ryan show to try to get a different opinion of him, to see if he can do something that's not comedy. So,
the Jack Ryan show I like it a lot. It's awesome.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be my first choice either, Jerry.
I mean, I thought
it would impress me and surprise me.
He directed A Quiet Place, which I didn't think I would ever enjoy that movie, and I thought it was pretty good, to the point where I may actually go see the sequel in theaters. But we'll see.
All right.
He doesn't necessarily strike me as Reed Richards, but then again, neither did the first two people. I mean, like Ewan Griffith, who played him in the movies like from 10 years ago. I'd seen him in other stuff beforehand, but I didn't know if he would ever be my first idea as Reed Richards. And Miles Teller, sure as shit, would never be my idea for Reed Richards, because I don't think much of Miles Teller, but that's my opinion.
And I liked him. I was okay with him. So.
All right. So AJ, favorite character from the Wanda Vision show?
I'm actually gonna change my pick to what I originally said. I'm gonna go with Catherine Hahn with Agatha, because I really like her. So anything I've seen her and I've enjoyed, and I did really enjoy her on this show. So I actually enjoyed her more than even Wanda and Vision. And I like Paul Bettany a lot too. Mm-hmm. But Catherine Hahn to me was the surprise of this show. So
yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed her.
And just remember, she was the one who told Christina Applegate that Ron Burgundy will read whatever is in that teleprompter.
Yes, she did.
This was one of the few times where I've seen her on a leash where she couldn't be foul, which is what she usually is, and I generally enjoy that about her. She's got a potty mouth, but they had to keep her on a leash on this one. So
I guess you could put it that way. It's an interesting way of putting it, but I don't know what I was going to say. I kind of lost my thought there.
The more we talk about the show, the
okay.
more I realize that she really was my favorite character on the show.
Yeah. So. Theo, favorite character?
So since AJ just stole mine, I'm going with Wanda. It's all good. I had a backup just in case it would happen. I thought Pat was going to pick Agatha.
I was going to take Randall Park, and then Pat took him too. So
everybody's stealing each other's shit.
Well, before you say you were going to take Pietro.
But then I ended up talking about him for like an extended amount on it. So then I'm like, I'm not going to talk about him again. So
whatever. I'm picking Wanda. She did a cool job. She did an awesome job in the show. She was my second pick. So either way, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm taking Wanda. I like her a lot. I think they picked a good person to play her in the MCU overall in general. Mm-hmm. I've enjoyed her acting and her playing Scarlet Witch from the beginning. So
I think they've picked the right people to play just about everybody.
Normally they do. So far, for the most part, they have.
They have a hell of a screening process.
Yeah. I mean, DC, I think, is picked, for the most part, almost everybody properly for their roles.
Yeah, since it became more
even
of
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any of the recent DC movies. So, from what I've seen in previews, they look pretty darn good, but I've never actually seen them. But all right, so our Mount Rushmore, we have Kat Dennings, who played Darcy, Randall Parks, who played Jimmy Woo, Catherine Hahn, who played Agatha, and Elizabeth Olsen, who played Wanda. That is our Mount Rushmore. So pretty cool Mount Rushmore. I mean, it was, I don't know if I want to say it was kind of predictable that we might pick those people just because they were probably the best characters in the movie. Some people might say, whatever. It was, the general or whatever, I thought that guy was just a dickhead in the show, unless you like dickheads, then, maybe you would pick that guy. But
you knew he was going to be a dickhead. So
yeah, you kind of did know he was going to be a dickhead. Very true. But pretty cool Mount Rushmore. And hopefully we'll get to see all these people continue to play parts in the MCU as those characters and just kind of continue that whole storyline for themselves and that, because it's pretty cool. All right. Any final thoughts before we end the show tonight?
Nope.
Okay. I'll take that as a no I'll take Theo speaking for everybody as a no. So we want to thank you, everybody. Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you catch us on YouTube for the video version, or if you're catching it on any of the different medias in which we have our audio version. Darth Pat almost fell out his
Did you almost fall?
He hit himself in the head purposely with a Coke bottle.
I missed that. I just saw him fall backwards. I was like, oh shit, he's going to fall in his chair. Oh, there's our unofficial sponsor,
he was acting.
Coca-Cola.
I thought it was supposed to catch me, but it felt like it wasn't going to. Like it was going to betray me at the last moment, just like a fucking chair would.
But we really do, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's a great pleasure to be able to come here on a pretty much a weekly basis, entertain you guys, entertain ourselves. If you are catching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, give us a big like, hit that notification button. Subscribe to our channel. That way you never miss an episode. Tell more people about it, because, hey, we're just out here to entertain. We want to make sure that people are getting entertained and having a good time, because we all need to get away from sometimes reality. And this, I think this is a pretty damn good way to do that, is get away from reality sometimes.
Just laugh at us.
It's just laugh at us, because I make it pretty damn easy, because I can't say the right names. I can't say shit right. So, I make it pretty easy, as AJ sits there and freaking makes his goofy ass face that he always makes.
And come on, let's think about it. We're trying to overtake, Jim Cornette here as, in terms of like views and stuff, we're aspiring to that level. So, we can start making some of that sweet cash. we don't have merchandising the way Jim Cornette does, but yeah.
That's all right. I don't think I kind of feel sad for the people that buy Jim Cornette's merchandise, because those are probably like all like 50 and 60-year-old guys that probably hate people like continuously. They're probably a bunch of we'll just stop there.
You're just mean old men.
What the fuck are you trying to say, motherfucker?
Right. And with that said, we're going to sign off, and we're going to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.